Welcome back to Birds vs. Boys. You're here on episode 12. Aidan has put down the ammonia, and I think he's maybe over the tie, and we're ready to move on to week 4 in the NFL. We will preview the Cowboys at home against the Browns, as well as the Eagles heading out to San Francisco for Sunday Night Football. And we'll do all of that later in the show. But first, as always, we're going to go around the NFL, talk about some of the hottest topics in the league, give you some winners and our top 5 power rankings. So you survived the ammonia, huh?
Barely. I'll tell you what, those warning labels were not messing around. That stuff is serious. I had a headache for so long. That was intense. I deserved it. I'll say this. Sitting through a tie for 4 hours was 10 times worse than the ammonia situation. But I'm here. I killed a lot of brain cells and whatever I had left, but I'm here.
So you had a longer headache after the tie than you did after the ammonia.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think the ammonia killed so many brain cells that I was just like dead inside. But the tie had me so fired up. It was like scream through my entire house and scare every animal in the neighborhood mad. So the ammonia kind of mellowed me out because it took away all brain function that I had left.
So are you kind of over the tie now, or are you still bitter from it? Are you ready to move on to San Francisco?
I'm not over the tie. I'll never be over the tie. I went on a run today because it was still nice outside somewhat, and you got to take advantage of it.
How far did you go?
I did 2 miles.
Attaboy.
1 mile, and during runs you think a lot. So I say the first mile, it was like an epiphany. I was like, you know what? This team's just bad. Like, you just have to accept that it's bad, and there's going to be better days, and you need to have bad days. This team hasn't drafted high and hasn't drafted well for a long time. They need a season like this. Then I got to the second mile. I was feeling it. I was cruising, and I was like, just one win, and we're kind of back in this thing.
There, you got the endorphins kicking in too. That absolutely helps. It's almost like when you start taking a sip of any sort of alcohol, and then you're like, you know what? It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was that running high, very similar to that alcohol effect, where you're like, you know what? Things are looking up.
We'll be okay.
Not that far away. This isn't going to be a disaster.
Well, things are looking a little down, I guess. I mean, we have to talk about coronavirus. We made it almost 4 weeks without really having to talk about COVID in season, but seems like we have to talk about it today.
Yeah, Titans and Steelers getting the good old fashioned COVID bye week.
Here we go.
So that is, it was always a possibility. We made it almost a month, and here we are.
So I'm hearing if there's no more positives by Saturday, they'll play Monday night. But if they get another one Saturday, they're going to try and then push the game to Tuesday. So we may have a doubleheader like the first weekend, Monday night, or we may have Tuesday night football. And if that happens, that kind of, gives the Eagles a little bit of an advantage. Yes, they're going to be going out to San Francisco and then flying home late, but then that's Steelers playing on Tuesday to then come around to play the Eagles on Sunday.
Yeah, it's working out in our favor. Like I said, mile 2 of that run, you start to think, okay, we beat San Francisco, Steelers, short week because of the COVID. Now, all of a sudden, then they have to play us, and we've finally got momentum. It all starts to come together like that. So we'll see. We will see. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I mean, there was no real way they were going to be able to play this game on Sunday, right?
No, not at all. And you know what I noticed? It's like, if you were to put teams most likely to have this happen to them, Titans would be pretty high for me, because I think they just have one of those coaches. Like, look who's getting in trouble. It's the coaches who don't care and just think about nothing.
Guys.
Yeah, just football guys. So
I think we talked
John
about
Gruden,
that. Didn't we talk about that or like preseason? I think we were talking about football guys and how they were. Vince, you're gonna have to go back and listen to every podcast before the season started here and pull some tape. But I think we were talking about like those football guys that when the COVID, protocols come in, they're like, this is not how football is done. We need to spit on each other.
Yeah, we did talk about that and just like the protocols that they'd have to go through and how some of these coaches just wouldn't care about the protocols because it gets in the way of the 17th rep of practice. So like John Gruden got fined. He's a football. He doesn't care. Mike Vrabel, his team now has the unofficial bye week because they have a COVID outbreak. Like
Pete Carroll.
these people don't care. Like Vrabel, like no sane human being who threatened to cut off their own dick if they won the Super Bowl is going to care about COVID.
No.
It's just not in his DNA. And that's why I feel like that's how they ended up where they're at.
Pat McAfee being ahead of this whole game was mind-blowing to me. I mean, Tyler Lewan was on with him and he got like a phone call and he's like, "You got COVID?" And then you see McAfee just like, "What is happening?"
That I didn't actually see that clip.
I gotta send you the video.
He tweeted it and he was like, "There's about to be crazy NFL news coming out. Just know that I knew it first." And I was like, "Oh."
And then he put the video out after.
Oh, he put the video out after.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that is pretty crazy. Yeah, him being, because he's like not serious, but obviously has a very well respected podcast and radio show. So him like being the forefront of this, like the Schefter of it, was really funny.
It was awesome. But yeah, I mean, we kind of knew that something like this was going to happen. Now there's no line in the Vikings game. We were just looking that up as well because they had to shut down their facilities also. So now we knew the game wasn't going to get canceled because the Shield, they're the locomotive that's going to keep rolling down the tracks.
The Shield never stops. And good thing that there's no line for the Vikings so that you guys can stop betting on the Vikings.
Hey, and Joe, I bet on them 2 weeks. I lose. Joe bets on them 1 week and they lose, but he covers. Awesome.
Barely. Well, I'll give him it that they covered, but it's a good thing that there's no line for their game.
So give me your prediction. You think it's a Monday night game, doubleheader, or do you think they're playing Tuesday?
I would say Tuesday. I just don't think 24 hours makes that big of a difference. So I feel like Tuesday's got to be the day. It reminds me of the Tuesday night snow game that the Eagles played against the Vikings back in the day. So I would guess Tuesday.
So now, all right, that's a CBS game for Sunday. Would be. I mean, CBS is not giving that game up, and it probably wasn't nationally televised. So does that become a nationally televised CBS event on Tuesday night? Then kind of has to, right?
I don't think so. If I remember correctly, there was a Lions-Vikings game where it snowed, and the snow collapsed the roof of the Vikings stadium. Yes. So they had to move the game to Detroit and play it 2 days later. But we couldn't watch that game. Like, there's television restrictions to it.
All right, but, well, unrestrict.
I'd say unrestrict because you know what? Everyone's just going to find an illegal stream anyway. So do you want to make money off of this or don't you?
Exactly. I mean, everybody watched that shit show that was Tuesday night. You will get everybody to watch this if we all watched that.
I know. And I'll tell you what, you and I doing this right now, this is exactly what everyone needed. Two white assholes arguing with each other. That's exactly what we needed right now.
At least we're letting each other talk.
I know. And that was supposed to be civil. This isn't supposed to be civil. And we completely flipped roles and just completely went off the rails, and we stay civil the entire time.
But didn't Vince get $3.5 million from Russia?
Vince didn't pay his taxes. His brother's a cokehead.
Eddie is an asshole.
Well, that's also something we can agree on.
That is true. So I'm in agreement with you. I think Tuesday night's going to happen. And CBS, I know you're listening. All of your execs, unrestrict. Show the game nationally.
Do it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's 2020, there's no rules. Just do it.
Yeah, just you know what? You think your ratings are going to be down a little bit this year? They don't have fans in the crowd. You want to make a little bit of extra cash in your pocket? Put that game on national TV.
What's the CBS Tuesday night lineup here? Let's see.
Can I say something about CBS? Because I don't watch a lot of CBS games. Do they have the worst channel lineup of all time? Like, if someone is listening right now that follows CBS, could you tell me what show on CBS you watch? Like, all right. Since How I Met Your Mother ended, what the hell do they have?
So next Tuesday would be the 6th, correct?
Yes.
So CBS would be running 8 o'clock NCIS, 9 o'clock FBI, 10 o'clock the FBI declassified.
Is it CIA at 11? And then
That's all that's showing on their actual
IRS at
website.
midnight?
I mean, I didn't even know there was a show called FBI. No idea. But
They did like their channel. They did a promo during the Eagles game of like all these amazing shows that CBS had. I'd rather watch the tie again. I'd like to watch a replay of overtime than before I watched any of those shows. It was horrible. Sorry, we're getting totally off track, but that needs to be the next question in the debate. Who is going to fix CBS?
Free Frank Gore, fix CBS, draft like the Ravens.
Draft like the Ravens. They just put us in charge.
And that does remind me, too, on a quick note, my wife said this weekend watching the tie, she said she was just done with this season as an Eagles fan, and she's just going to start rewatching the 2017 season, like each week, whatever that game was. She's just going to watch that game on YouTube.
I've had a few people who, and I think Aidan put it out there. He was watching the 2017 Super Bowl. I think people just went back and relived the glory days, which is fine. I mean, I'm going to subject myself for the entire season to this no matter what. But I will also be scouting college players.
Even though you did say that you would stop watching the season if they lost to the Redskins in week 1, I will go back and find that audio.
I don't remember it, but I wish you did, because I wish you could find it, because I wish that I stopped watching it.
Vince, it happened. I mean, we'll find it. But yeah, hopefully we have Tuesday night football to save CBS. Now, another guy we've been talking about probably since the first episode of this podcast, Earl Thomas, right? Earl has been kind of my shiny old toy. I'll say shiny old toy. I've kind of wanted him. I want Gerry to make the call. Gerry hasn't been making the call. Nobody kind of wanted him. And then all of a sudden, boom, it came out that he was going to the Houston Texans. He was going for a workout, a physical. And then Adam Schefter said he was in Houston. And it was more likely than not that he was signing with the Texans. It was happening. It was done. And then about 7 hours later, it came out that the Houston Texans are not signing Earl Thomas and that he was heading back home. Earl Thomas's camp said it was because of COVID, but it wasn't. They saw him and then they're like, no.
Aside from him having COVID, why would it be about COVID? Like, no one on the team has it. Did they have it? Like,
they were also bringing in about 6 other players that day and week that it all still happened. And he went there. It wasn't like he was in flight and then they're like, oh, we have a COVID test, turn the plane around and maybe we'll try this next week. He was there. He got interviewed. And then they're like, bro, you got to go.
I'll tell you what, COVID's not the first disease that I would worry about with Earl Thomas.
So like, did him and his brother have an orgy with like Bill O'Brien's family members? What could have happened?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Like a team that's 0-3 and desperate for a spark in his home state, and Bill O'Brien is Bill O'Brien. This is either Earl Thomas has completely lost his mind, or it's just Bill O'Brien being Bill O'Brien in a bad way again.
Both of those outcomes seem equally likely. That's all I have to say about that.
And the funny thing is, in Cowboys land was that morning, Jerry Jones was being interviewed on 105.3 The Fan by Sean and RJ. Hopefully we'll be seeing Sean soon on here. But Jerry was basically being Jerry Jones, and they asked him about Earl Thomas and that, is there a chance? He's like, well, first you got to think that the fans think that I know that there's Earl is out there. Yes, I do. We're like, okay, what does that mean? First he called him Russell Thomas.
That makes it funnier. Because he was definitely thinking about Russell Wilson still.
Yeah, 100%. And then he said, would I be interested? Yes, I would be. And then it just like ended. So then all of a sudden, a couple hours later, he's leaving Houston. So then Cowboys fans are like, Jerry made the call when he was in Houston. Here it comes. And then we're days later and he's not coming to Texas.
Call hasn't come yet. Yeah, I don't think it is. We'll see with him. I don't know.
I think that's enough Earl Thomas talk because I think we've talked him to death, and I don't think I'm talking it into existence with him putting a star in his helmet.
You certainly tried.
I'm still trying. As the New York Yankees go down 0, and here comes the tarp. Awesome.
Great. So you wasted your starter. Nice.
It's great.
All right.
You want to go a little power rankings?
Let's do it. Let's do power rankings locks, and then let's get into our week ahead.
All right. So the way we do power rankings, especially this season with a very good team out there, we're going to go 1 to 5 instead of 5 down to 1 because our 1 is probably the same. Ready? 1, 2, 3, Chiefs. Do we even need to explain? I mean, they literally made the Ravens look like the Eagles.
Hey.
I got nothing. Andy Reid, Bieniemy, I can't believe he's not a head coach. The offense is unbelievable. And watching that game really makes me think when I'm watching the NFC East, we're watching the AAF. The difference is just unbelievable.
The offensive strategy style and just all around talent on the field. It's just not even the same game.
No,
it doesn't even look the same. It doesn't look like that. You were right. Like, it does not look like these teams are playing in the same league.
No.
Yeah,
it's like Texas high school football against like Pennsylvania Pee Wee.
Yeah. It's a 6A Texas team.
Yep.
Playing that team in Alaska who plays like 3 times a year because it's dark for like 9 months out of their year. That's what it looked like. It's unbelievable. It was laughably noticeable how much better those teams are on offense than the Eagles offense and just the overall talent that's on the field. So Chiefs are an easy number 1. I think as we get into it, now there's going to be a little bit more dispute.
All right, give me your number 2.
Steelers. 3-0. I know we just talked about them having an unofficial bye week.
Wow.
That was the last gasp for the Texans. They got the Texans' best shot. They still won by a touchdown. They are good. They lost Deontay Johnson in that game. It didn't phase them. They still put up 28. 3-0, gold standard Steelers.
And I won that bet. Took the Steelers -4. Thank you very much. Yeah, I love the Steelers. Gold standard in the NFL is back, baby. We keep saying all they needed last year was somebody that can complete a forward pass, and they got Big Ben back, and that defense is just scary. TJ Watt is unbelievable, and he could be a Cowboy. All right, I'm leaving the Ravens there. I know Lamar looked bad, but the Chiefs are just their kryptonite. I think they're going to bounce back.
But
Are
they their kryptonite?
Yes.
Okay. Or is it just like the Ravens have a pattern and they keep running into that pattern against a better team in the Chiefs, but they hit that same pattern against other teams? Is that?
They do. That I was very thoughtful of moving them down, but I'm going to give them one more week. Obviously, this is a fluid list. They are coming off a bad loss. Lamar Jackson looked not like a elite caliber starting quarterback whatsoever, but he didn't get any help from Mark Andrews. Thank you. Made me lose one fantasy game. But I still have faith in their offense and that defense. So I'm going to leave them there for this week.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Who made this list? I did. Wow, my list sucks. I'm dumb. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't have the Ravens on my list.
At all.
Not at all. They did not crack the top 5.
Wow. Did you just forget about them? Or
I didn't forget about them. I'm just so down on them. I don't know. Like I said, you sniff ammonia one time and the thought process goes way out the window.
I mean,
Ravens don't make the list.
I don't think you can drop them from 2, which we both have them, to just off the list, off 1 loss to the Chiefs. If you lost to the Bengals or tied the Bengals, maybe. But
no, it was how they lost. Like it was like they have to exist with a lead. If they don't strike first, then they're screwed. And
I was very confused. Usually in the beginning when they were going right down the field, they don't usually settle for that field goal. They usually
No,
push it.
like
I was confused on why they settled there.
it's like if they hit a team that's similar in talent, they just flounder.
Yep.
And they just completely lose their identity, and they can't run the ball at the same effectiveness. And they force Lamar into throwing like a bunch of times, and he's such a better thrower than people give him credit for. But still, like their mo is not him dropping back and throwing it 40 times. And
Agreed.
it's like they go down by 1 touchdown or 10 points, and it's like the game is. It's like they're down by 21.
Yep.
And I just don't, for an offense that's that good, for them to just that lead to feel insurmountable is concerning. So that's why they're off my list, but more so it's because I've huffed chemical products for 3 days.
Well, I can't wait to hear your number 3.
The Seahawks, who just beat the Dallas Cowboys. Honestly, I don't even want to put the Seahawks here. My number 3 is just Russell Wilson. I think he's on one of the most incredible stretches in NFL history, and it is not slowing down. He had 4 touchdowns on Sunday.
Yep.
So that gives him 13 for the year.
Yep.
In 3 games.
Yep.
His completion percentage is near 80%.
Yep.
I mean, this is a ridiculous pace.
Yep.
So Russell Wilson is my number 3.
Okay. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers with number 3. They keep doing what we're asking them to do. They went into New Orleans and won. Aaron Rodgers is a machine. I think the defense is better than – I don't think they're playing as good as they'd hope to be playing for yet, but I think they're better than a normal Packers defense that you expect Aaron Rodgers to have. Him and the coach are clicking. I like what they're doing. And I – as well in that division. I mean, I don't think the Bears are going to sniff them when they play each other, and the Vikings stink. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are my number 3.
I respect it because I was very impressed with them. Even without fans in New Orleans, that was a very impressive win. I absolutely respect where you're coming from with that. That was the first time it felt like all year they'd even been challenged, and they handled it pretty well. So that's a great pick.
Yep. All right, 4.
All right, this is where my list is. This makes even less sense than the Ravens.
You go Bucks?
No, I don't have the Bucks on my list. All right, do you want to do one more guess? I don't think you're gonna get it. Like, this is just, my list makes no sense.
Bills?
No, the team that the Bills beat, the Rams.
The Rams. What?
I know.
You're giving me shit for having the Ravens at 2, but you're putting the Rams on here after they're getting walloped by the Bills. Yeah, they came back, but they still lost.
They didn't get. I was going to say they didn't get walloped.
They were getting walloped.
All right. Well, I understand the Ravens like being in the list. They probably should be in the list, unless you're an idiot who huffs chemicals like me.
Yep.
I just think the Rams offensive line is playing at as good as they've played, if not better, than their Super Bowl season. I know they lost, but they lost on the road against a Buffalo Bills team that really felt like a statement game for them. Like this has to be the Bills' year now that Tom Brady's gone. Like it's been 2 decades without a playoff win. This has to be their year.
Yep.
And this was the first test they faced. And even at that point, with a minute and a half left in that game, the Rams came back and were leading that game.
Yep.
And that's another thing. Like Jared Goff, I don't think he could have pulled that comeback off in years past. Where they were down 28-3, and he brought them all the way back. I think he's much improved. They look like everything. There's been points where Sean McVay has been overhyped and Jared Goff has been overhyped. They look legit, and I know they lost, but they're still 4 for me. They lost that game because of where it was in the schedule, not because of the talent on the team.
Did you throw that 28-3 in there just like that as another dig towards Atlanta?
Yeah, like they're the worst.
I am going with the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4. Gold standard. You said everything about them. I don't need to go any deeper into that. Pittsburgh Steelers 4.
Perfect. All right. And I'll do my 5 because just like you, it's a team that you have already said. I have the Packers at 5. So everything that you said before, like I said with the Steelers, that's how I feel about the Packers at 5.
And I have Russell Wilson at 5. I think their offense is good, but their defense stinks. And now Jamal Adams is hurt. Who knows how long that is going to be? So that team really is Russell Wilson, a really big DK Metcalf, and a fast guy.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't think it's slowing down though. I just think he's so good. They have the Dolphins this week, and that'll be a test just because every time they come to the East Coast, they seem to struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they cheap shot the quarterback out of the game and face Josh McCown on one hamstring, they usually struggle on the East Coast. But yeah, I like that pick. I wish we were as big as like Coward is. Like we had a national show. Like if you put my top 5 on the internet, do you know how badly I would get roasted?
Oh, I think we're gonna have to do that, Vince. We're gonna make a promo.
If we could, we could pull a graphic off. I feel like I don't know. Between the three of us, I have one chemically damaged brain, but you guys are all right. I think we can pull off a graphic. Just roast me because I don't know what I was doing when I made this list.
I'll make a graphic and I'll put our both of ours next to each other, and I'll put a poll out there on Twitter.
Yeah, who won this, and why did Kevin win this easily?
Well, let's see if both of us can win some games this weekend. So
now that you've heard how badly I did at the power rankings, would you like to trust me with betting advice?
Here we go. Let's get it rolling. I'll go first here. I'm going to take this game that looks like it's going to be more of a shit show than the debate was. The Thursday night game, Broncos at the Jets. Jets are -1. Jets are the worst team in the league. The Jets are the most ill-prepared team in the league. Adam Gase should be fired during the first quarter. They have no one, but I like Sam Darnold at home over some dude who I don't even know who his name is for the Broncos. The Broncos are really bad. So I'm going to take the Jets -1 at home.
Yeah. And why is Blake Bortles not playing?
Exactly. If Blake Bortles was playing, I'd be taking the Broncos.
Hell yeah. I think he would have some magic left in him. I would absolutely take that. That game, the fact that you have to take that and watch that game, I like that game. I like that pick, but it's just a matter of principle. Like, where do we draw the line on our addiction to football? Are we going to what? You're all in? That's bad. Yeah.
Put it in.
It's like, that's the worst game I can think of at this point in the schedule. It is so bad.
I don't care. It's football. Feed it to me. Unless the Yankees are in game 3 against Cleveland, I will not be watching.
It might rain until then, so be on the lookout.
Can't wait.
All right, my first pick is Saints -4. They're going against the Lions. I think the Saints really need this game. They're at 1-2. I predicted their loss to the Ravens because of that new stadium energy, but I was surprised that they lost to the Packers, and it's really starting to look like Drew Brees. The shoulder is just done, and I know Michael Thomas isn't there, which hinders him. It would hinder any quarterback not to have him on the field, but you got to be a little bit concerned. This seems like a good turnaround point, though. Lions surprised me with their win. They needed that win. I think just like how I said with the Rams versus Bills game, this is just a game you dictate it based on where it is in the schedule, and the Saints really need this win. I think they win by a touchdown at least, and Alvin Kamara is playing some of the best football in the league as both a running back and a receiver.
Danny Cannell's father, who was the Dolphins medical doctor back in the day, can finally say, see, us and the Dolphins were right. His shoulder is not healthy.
Yeah.
We picked Dante Culpepper for a reason. We told you he was right. See, his shoulder's not good.
It took until he was 42, but
they were right.
Finally went.
Very good. Dante Culpepper was the right pick.
Shout out Dante.
I am picking the Bills at the Raiders. Bills are -3. I am going with Las Vegas +3. I think the Raiders are a very good team. I think the Bills are a great team, but I also think now they're flying cross country. They just won this gritty ass game where they went up big and then they let the Rams come back, like you said, but then they won it. They're 3-0. Josh Allen is the real deal. But I do like the Raiders +3 in this spot.
The Raiders are one of those teams that I'm high on this year, so I definitely agree with that pick. I don't feel confident in them this week, even though I left the Bills off my list. But I like the Raiders. I don't know if I like them this week. All right. My second pick is the fourth best team in the league, the Los Angeles Rams. They are playing the New York Giants, who absolutely stink. It's a Rams minus 13, which is a huge number. Except this is a Giants team that just lost to the 49ers, who were beat up beyond belief 36-9. I love the Rams. Like I said, they have one of the best offensive lines in the league. They have one of the best offensive rushing attacks in the league. But the Giants have one of the worst. I think time possession wise, this is going to be a massacre. Rams equal good, equal fourth place. Shout out Flint, Michigan Mega Bowl.
I'm not going to fight you on this one. I mean, the Giants stink. MetLife Stadium stinks. Daniel Nichols and the Giants will get steamrolled by this Rams team.
Did you see that the NFLPA has asked that they change every artificial turf into grass?
I did not.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Never happened.
I don't know. Yeah, it's anything that involves money that they're not going to do.
No, I mean these owners, they use these fields for much more than just games.
That's true. That is very true.
Like Jerry Jones can have 47 high school football championships in 2 days.
Not to mention all the concerts and everything like that too. So I don't think it's an easy thing to just overturn it like that.
No.
We'll see. I think grass is definitely better. All right, so those are our picks this week presented by Bovada. As you can tell by my very strong power rankings, you should absolutely believe in everything that I just told you about gambling.
Bet with Bovada.
Bet with Bovada. Let's do the Eagles real quick to start because I can keep this very short and sweet. And I think one of my questions about the Eagles can relay and relate to the Cowboys a little bit.
Okay.
So here's all I have to say. George Kittle is playing this week. That seems bad for us. Poor Nate Gerry. I mean, God bless. The guy, we were talking about this before the show. The guy seems to know where he should be on the field.
And he wants to be there.
And he wants to be there. Mentally, physically, he is not in the spots that he should be in. Micah Parsons could put on an Eagles helmet tomorrow, and I have no doubt that he would be the best linebacker on our team. He's not going to play for Penn State this year, but if he was, I'd be watching intently because at pick 6, depending on how we fall with our tie, I'd like for them to get him. So Kittle playing bad. We have a bunch of guys not playing. Our 2 best receivers are going to be Greg Ward and John Hightower. So it'll be another week of shitting on Wentz because he's throwing to John Hightower.
Is Wentz completely Deshaun's out? He's
not out, but the injury report, which was a scroll today,
it was unbelievable.
It was hilarious. It's beyond ridiculous at this point, but it did not look good. So we'll see with him, but it's looking like Greg Ward and John Hightower. So can't wait to give up on our franchise quarterback because you put fucking John Hightower and Quez Watkins around him.
Look at this.
Yeah, so Vince is bringing up the injury report for us. It's so ridiculous. And also, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside is on the injury report, which is beyond belief that now, after producing nothing, he is also hurt.
Now he's hurt.
Now, yeah, so if he doesn't play, it would be the same as if he was actually in the game. So it's literally 26% of the roster is on the injury report. How do you even do a practice like that? I'm not going to get worked up about it. It's not even.
Could we talk about our guy real quick, Jason Peters, who was tired?
What? I didn't get that report. Like
they were saying that Doug Peterson was saying that he came out of the game because he was tired.
If it's the point I'm thinking of in overtime, it was because he got his leg rolled up on.
Yeah, exactly. That's I'm saying Eagles Twitter was rolling with that this week.
Oh yeah,
saying he hamstrung this team and now he's tired. Yeah, he literally got rolled up on.
He did get rolled up on, but also that's not the part I'm worried about when people said that he was tired. Marcus Hayes said he was tired, and Marcus Hayes is an idiot. But he was a turnstile when he wasn't tired, quote unquote tired. to take the team hostage like that and put up these performances where he's getting Wentz killed. You got to have a set of balls on you to take that money honestly after what you're doing out there on that field. God bless. Oh my God.
Blows my mind.
I'm not getting myself worked up and just getting Wentz killed. And that kind of leads into what I was going to say about how the Eagles situation relates to the Cowboys situation. So Wentz, as I've said many times, is not playing well, but he's a product of a bad environment. So let's get into the Cowboys, because I saw before the show the Cowboys and the Jets, not good company to be in, are the only teams without rushes of 15 plus yards. So doesn't it kind of feel like Zeke might be part of just a bad environment and that's hindering him? Like how a bad environment's hindering Wentz?
Absolutely. And a bad offensive line. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody says, they're going to stack the box against the Cowboys, which they do. But now that Dak has thrown for over 450 yards in back-to-back games, the box is going to be a little bit lighter, but it's still, I mean, that offensive line our every single time he runs behind Connor Williams is just getting blown up. And now they had to put their all-pro right guard at right tackle, and they have a center who's a rookie now, and their center's playing right guard. It's a disaster. And now Tyron Smith did not practice again today with the neck. Who knows if he's going to play again this weekend? It also came out now all of a sudden Lyle Collins first wasn't conditioned ready in the offseason, and then he was conditioning and he tweaked something. So he was just going on IR for, the first 3 weeks. And Jerry Jones even said he might be ready at week 2 to play, but Jerry didn't realize that when you put a player on IR, he can't come off until after 3 weeks. But now they're talking about hip surgery. So I am planning on not having our starting right tackle for the entire season, which is not going to help that stat whatsoever.
It is not trending in the right direction for him. And like, you were the first one, I'll give you credit. You're the first one to recognize I don't want to say they were overhyped, because there were definitely concerns, but the red flags on that offensive line that we are both enduring right now.
These teams are legitimately mirroring themselves. Maybe the only thing that's not is the quarterback and the receivers, because the Dallas receivers are playing well and Dak's slinging it around. But I mean, our offensive line is in shambles and the Eagles' offensive line is in shambles. These defensive lines are supposed to be the most producing part. I would say yours produced a lot better than ours did last week. They were laying the hammer down. But before that, they were not.
No.
But the Dallas defensive line just keeps not producing. And I will talk about that once I start previewing this game as well, because I have a fun little stat for you too.
Well, that's actually was going to be my next question for you, is they seem to be underachieving. I don't think the Cowboys lose to the Browns.
I do.
But you do. I've caught on to this reverse jinx that you're doing with the Eagles and the Cowboys. I don't think I haven't noticed, but is that your concern? Is that why you're saying that? Is because
you want me to walk you through the concerns?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, honestly, but that was going to be my question. Like, is that your concern? Is like the Browns run the ball well and they ran over Cincinnati and they won last week against a good Washington front, and now your defensive line's not good? Like, is that the issue?
That's part of it. That's a little part of it. So yeah. Cowboys play the Browns at 1:00 at home. Cowboys are 4.5-point favorites. There will be fans in the stands. Do I think they could win that game? Absolutely. Do I think Dak Prescott could put up another career type day if this shambled offensive line can give him time? And that's where I get worried. So I'll start with the Cowboys defense and the Browns offense, which concerns me. I think that Baker is going to shred them deep. I know him and Odell haven't been fully on par with their connections this year, but I think early and often Baker's going to test these corners and test them deep. And like you saw last week against Metcalf and Lockett, they're not going to be able to hold up. And what helps that passing attack is going to be the running attack. The Dallas defense can't stop the run. Don Terry Poe, thanks for signing up, but You're supposed to stop the run, and you're not doing it. The only guy that's been showing up D tackle wise has been your boy, Tristan Hill. He's been hustling all around the field, but you hate him.
Scumbag.
So I see the two running backs in Chubb and Hunt. They lead the league in rushes of 20 yards or more. So the Cowboys, the only one without 15, and the Jets, they lead the league in rushes of 20 yards or more. And I don't think I've seen Chubb get taken down by a first tackler yet this season. And what do the Cowboys also do? They miss tackles. So you have two awesome running backs that don't get tackled against a defense that can't tackle. What that says to me is they are going to shred them exactly the way the Rams did. And then Baker's just going to be able to take shots. And on top of not being able to stop the run, the Cowboys can't get pressure with these hot boys, right? Clown Lawrence has been invisible, right? The only guy that's shown up lately has been Aldon Smith, playing like an animal, leading the league in sacks after not playing in this league for 5 years. Now, they do this stat for pass rushers on winning on the rush. So what that means is each pass rusher is graded. What percent does he win on a pass rush attempt? And that is graded out if they beat their man in front of them within 3 seconds. Okay? So some of the top guys in the league are TJ Watt. He's getting it at like almost 50% of the time. Clown Griffin, who they signed in the offseason, who's been running his mouth on Twitter, had 1 tackle last week. Throw out what you think his percentage win rate is on rushes.
I cheated. I saw the stat. I'm sorry. I know what it is, but if you're listening right now, it is shocking. Like, it is shocking. Go ahead and
tell the people what it. No, tell the people what it is.
It was 0.
0. None. He hasn't won once.
He has not won.
Not once.
That's like not even like the offensive lineman slipped and his shoe wasn't tied one time. Like
nothing.
He hasn't won a single time.
He's a complete shell of himself. Like I watched some tape of him last year, even on the. I mean, he was a player, and there was times where he was absolutely elite. And maybe that's why nobody was signing him until the Cowboys got him late in the offseason. Maybe that's why the Vikings, we're just letting him walk, because he is not the same player. And now he's probably going to come after me on Twitter.
Yeah, you better watch out. That stat was remarkable. The Jet stat was remarkable. I think there are some serious flaws. I will say this. I think I made fun of the other week, the media networks doing, contender versus pretender. This is just, to me, is very much a contender-pretender game, especially for the Browns. Like, it's almost to the point, they've been so bad in recent years. I'm just like, to the point, are you going to be serious? Like,
yep.
That would be my worry if I'm the Cowboys. This is the first test that they really face. I mean, they played the Ravens to start, but you know how that was going to go.
Yep.
This is their first test. And you have to have the feeling in the Cleveland locker room, are we going to be good? Or is this going to be another 6-10 disaster? So that would be my main concern. I'm big into psyche, apparently, this week. Where it lands on the schedule. Is there a full moon this week?
Baker's dropping bombs saying Dallas isn't the best town in Texas and Austin is, which is true. I mean, Dallas isn't. I like Fort Worth better than Dallas. But I also Browns offense, Cowboys defense wise, I don't know who covers Austin Hooper this week. If Baker sees Jalen Clown Smith lined up against him, throw it to him every time, every single time.
It's going to be a bad week for us playing tight ends. It's not going to end well.
No.
There's nothing we can do about it. Just sit and watch.
So this Browns offense, I think, is going to shred the Cowboys defense. And then comes back to this in shambles Cowboys offensive line. And the problem the Cowboys had last week, they had 2 big turnovers in big spots, right? Dak had the interception going into the half, and then the first play out of the half, he gets just home wrecked and has the strip sack fumble. And that's what scares me, because Myles Garrett is a wrecking machine. And they're going to move him up and down that line all game long. They're going to put him against Brandon Knight. They're going to put him against whoever they throw out there at right tackle. If it's Steele, if they try and do this again, he's going to get wrecked. And then they're going to throw him inside, and he is just going to absolutely bully Connor Williams. And then they have Richardson and Claiborne in there that have been playing well. Godspeed, Dak. Get rid of the ball quick.
Yeah, save yourself for that contract. I think as we get older, like, football gets less complicated to me. And you brought it up. Tyron Smith's likely going to be out. Lyle Collins is out. So you're down 2 tackles as it is. And now Myles Garrett's coming in. And so you have 2 backup inexperienced tackles unless Zach Martin moves outside. It's just, you are in a position where one guy is better than whatever guy you can put on the field. And sometimes football, it's as simple as that. And where can you win in matchups? And Myles Garrett is going to win no matter who is in front of him. So I'm with you that could be an issue as well. I think you're talking me into the Browns. I don't like it. I do not like it.
I'm telling you, all those reasons. I don't see how. I mean, obviously they're not going against Russell Wilson again. Good thing. Baker Mayfield's not even in. Again, he is like the NFC East compared to the Chiefs with Russell Wilson and Baker. But he's a good quarterback. And when he comes to play and he has that swagger that he comes with, and he's coming back to Texas, baby, there's going to be family and friends there, and he's going to have that Baker Mayfield swagger this weekend.
That's another thing. All right, I might be full Browns this week. Things are cooking. You have talked me into it. Baker Mayfield coming and playing at AT&T Stadium, like, this is the most Baker Mayfield thing that could ever happen. Like, he's back in Big 12 country. He's back in Texas, where he had a phenomenal high school career. This is where Oklahoma played in the Big 12 title game. So it's not his first time here. This is not his first rodeo. Equals Texas thing. That's all I know about Texas. So I don't know. I feel like if there was a moment for Baker Mayfield to have like I'm here, I'm good in the NFL, it would be in Dallas on the Star. That just seems like a very Baker Mayfield thing to have.
It's his T.O. moment.
It's his T.O. moment. If he does that, like, he has too many commercials as it is. Yeah. He can't. Just don't put yourself on. Don't do the T.O. thing.
I'm seeing an L for my Cowboys this weekend.
No, you keep doing. I'm not letting you do this anymore. You keep saying that you see the Eagles winning, then we lose, and you keep saying that you see the Cowboys losing, and then they win. Don't.
I mean, what? I've been right more than wrong with the Cowboys this year.
You haven't been right about the Eagles. You're killing me.
That is true. Maybe it's osmosis. So are you picking the Eagles, or are you picking the Niners?
Dude, I don't know. It's the most 50. I told you I went on a run. Mile 1, they were losing. Mile 2, they were beating the 49ers, and this jump starts our season. I usually have a very good feel on this team. I just don't know what to think anymore. My brain is scatterbrained, and I don't even think it's the ammonia. I just think it's done. This team has scatterbrained. Bad things happen in Philadelphia. Bad things. I don't know what to think anymore.
I feel like I've heard that before.
What?
I feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
Somewhere. Somebody around the way said it once or twice sometime.
Bad things do happen.
Bad things happen in Philadelphia. So are bad things going to happen in Dallas? Is this the Baker Mayfield game?
I feel like I need to be like energetic for my Cowboys nation, because that's what like Cowboys fans are. They're like, we got to get on the train. We're winning. But I'm not that person. I'm too logical. I'm too old. I'm sipping tea. My back hurts. Vince says I'm 97 years old. I've seen this movie so many times before. It's not 1996 anymore. It's not 1993 anymore. Hell, it's not even 2016 anymore. I have the Browns beating the Cowboys.
We will end it there because, Vince, we are going to start the next show when the Browns win with his reverse drinks antics, and we'll start it there. Anything else for you today?
Go Cowboys. Make me wrong.
Bad things happen in Philadelphia.
Make sure to always check us out on Twitter, Birds vs. Boys Pod, branded _sports on Twitter. KMess22, and Aidan's got a lot of underscores.
I'm around. You can find me somewhere.